Welcome back to the podcast. This is Marley here. If you're listening to the podcast solo today, because we're doing something a little different today. Becca and I have had some really incredible conversations in the last couple of weeks, and there are some really, really exciting things happening behind the scenes that we are going to get to share with you very soon, we hope. But one of the things that we did this week was this really powerful exercise of profit planning and projecting and vision casting and goal setting that really allowed us to ask ourselves bigger questions that led to some pretty incredible outcomes, in a 5 to 10 minute exercise that we did. So we knew that exercise was so powerful that we brought it into Mind Her Business, the mastermind of Becca's where we focus on how to gain total control of your money, and where I'm a co-coach on the business side of things. And this exercise was so powerful in there. We knew we also wanted to bring it to you, our podcast audience. So what we decided to do, because we work smart around here and not hard, we decided to let you actually hear this week's mastermind call. So we are going to be sharing the recording from this week's call, where you're going to get, a peek behind the curtain of what exactly happens inside of the mastermind, the types of conversations we're having about your money, about your financial future, about profit planning in your business, about planning for your family's financial future. And you're going to get to hear a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes in my life and some of the extra avenues of income that my husband and I have developed over the last year, and some that we're working on expanding. Some of which, by doing this exercise that you are going to have us walk you through, led us to realize that we have grown our net worth by hundreds of thousands of dollars and are looking at increasing our net worth in the next potentially 30 to 60 days, 2x, 3x, like looking at adding $200,000 to $600,000 to our net worth, all because of asking ourselves really powerful questions, all because we weren't afraid to seek out the information that we were looking for. And it all stemmed from knowing my numbers. The day that I decided to join Mind Her Business in its very first round and really get to know my numbers, really familiarize myself with money management. And from there, it has grown over the last few years to me learning to become proficient in not just money management, but in my bookkeeping. Learning then to become very confident in asking my accountant and the people that are supporting me the right questions, and knowing what questions to ask, and feeling confident to ask those questions and be a part of those conversations. So there are just so many doors that have opened from knowing my numbers. And this exercise that we're going to walk you through is it was just so powerful. And I'm so excited to hear your takeaways when you sit down and do this. So it's not simple. It's simple. It might feel really challenging. And I'm going to leave that with you, but I want you to persevere, and I want you to get excited, and I want you to get curious about what's possible for you. So I'll leave you with that big cliffhanger so you can go listen to the call and hear this exercise. And lastly, before I let you go and listen to that, I want you to go to the show notes underneath this episode and click on the Aftershow Google Form, where you can submit key takeaways that you had from the show, any feedback you had. And if you hear anything in today's call or in any of our calls that really sparks something in you, or has you curious, or has you wanting to know more, please submit that to us. Let us know, because we want to answer your questions on the live Instagram after show that we will be hosting weekly moving forward. We want to be able to give you custom feedback based on the questions that you ask. You can submit anonymously if you want. And we want to know what you would like to hear more of. If we kind of touch on something and don't go into a lot of detail, and that's something you'd like us to really dive into, either on the after show or do a whole episode on, let us know, because we want to curate this podcast to serve you and to answer your questions. And the after show is going to be a really fun way for us to be able to continue the conversations that we're having here on the podcast, live on Instagram every single Wednesday. So happy listening. Get out your pen and paper and really set aside some time to sit down and do this exercise. I spent about 10 minutes and I got halfway through it just in bed when I first found out about it, laying in bed at night on my phone, pulled up my notes app, and I went to town. And it allowed some really serious transitions to happen that my husband and I in the next 24 hours have acted on. And it has led to some pretty exciting financial prosperity.
Welcome to Mind Her Business. There are some new faces in the room. Those of you who are new, I'm going to kind of give like a rundown of what we're doing today. Give me a moment. Zoom will not allow me. Honestly. I'm trying to move your faces around so I can see you. But you disappeared. Okay, there you are. Sorry about that. Okay, so this morning, I wanted to do like a quick introduction for those of you who are new of what Mind Her Business is, like what these calls are designed for. And then we're going to go into quickly what today's call is going to be used for. And then we have some small exercises for you. And then at the end, the floor will be open for questions. I do have a list of questions that I received this week. So if you can stay for those, then you can hear other people's questions and those answers. So Marley and I, if you don't know Marley, she's right here with the headphones on. She's our resident business coach. So she and I have been talking a lot lately, and Mind Her Business has kind of evolved in the best way possible. And so this is not how it was intended, but you guys kind of turned this into a mastermind. And so we're going to go with the flow and we're going to allow it to be a mastermind and allow it to be what you guys need it to be. Because not only are we minding your business, but we also want to work on your business growth and your finances and making sure the profit that you are making grows with your revenue that you are making. Because if your revenue grows and your profit margin is not growing, then we have a different situation. We need to work on that, right? So there are two things that Marley and I see that you need in business, not just you, but like as a whole, people who own a business as a whole. And those two things are, you need support with your money to manage and leverage what you already have so that you can take control and make the most of it, make the smart decisions so that that money is used for what you want it to be used for based on the information that those numbers are telling you. So that's the first thing, right? Support with your money management, and then business support to make more money or to get to the next level of business, whatever that is for you. Some people that's more money. Some people that's more clients. Some people that's to work less and to still have the regular income that they have currently. So whatever that is to you, it's your goals, your individual goals that you're working towards. So Marley and I spent a year in a mastermind last year, and it was the most transformative year for business, but mostly mindset and business that we could have ever imagined. So that's what we want for you inside of Mind Her Business. Last week, you had an exercise with Casey about your strengths, your natural strengths, how to leverage those, and what you can and cannot control in business. So focusing on the things that you can control, not just in business, but also in your home, your mindset, all of those things. Today, we are going to do a quick money date. So if you are new here, this is your dedicated time to look at your money. If this is the only time you get to do that this week, if you do not track it already, that's the time that you get to pull up your bank account and just see what's going on, to just face the numbers and see what's happening inside your bank account. So you'll have time to do that. Then we're going to have profit planning, which we're really excited about, for the rest of quarter two. So we are halfway through quarter two, which means you get to evaluate where you are profit-wise and where you want to be and what we can do to get there. And then you'll have the floor to ask questions. And I have a resource for you today that's free. So when we get there, I'll drop that in the chat and you can keep that and use that forever if you need to. So we're going to start with the money date. Before that, does anyone have any questions? No. Okay. So typically we do 10 minutes of a money date. I do have music pulled up today. Usually I forget, but we're going to pull up some music. I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. if you are already inside Mind Her Business, inside the course, then you know the money date is checking your business. If you don't know, that's fine. You're going to learn right now. The music came on. You're going to check your business money, your income, your expenses. What do you have left in profit? Do you have outstanding client payments? Things like that. Just get a handle on what's happening. And then you're going to move to your personal if you have time in that 10 minutes and do the same thing. What income for your personal household has come in this month? What expenses have left this month? And do you have any money left to go after your financial goals for your family? So that is the money date in a nutshell. Actually, while I start the timer, I have something that I'll pull up for you. And then those of you who are brand new, you'll have a resource to look at while we do this. So I'm going to set the timer for 10 minutes. And you can open up your bank accounts. You can do your money date. You can update your spreadsheets. Can you type it here? Yes, I can, Em. Give me 1 second. I think I have something that I can share on the screen. It might be even better. Search contact. I know I have one. Okay, we're just going to type it in the chat to save your time. Okay, so if you have questions about this, unmute and ask. This is your chance to get what you need. So feel free to unmute and ask. If you don't want to unmute and ask or can't, drop that in the chat also. I will be looking for those. I just muted myself while I was talking. Let's see. Hey, Brooke, can you unmute and ask?
Hey, so I'm totally new here. I just saw you on an Olive Grove the other day.
Yeah.
My husband and I started using a platform called YNAB.
Okay.
You ever heard of that?
I have not, but
It's
that's okay.
an acronym, obviously. It stands for You Need a Budget. We really like it. So like the exercise we're doing right now, I'm actually up to date on because we do everything there, but I'm curious if you recommend combining business and personal,
Mhm.
or if those should be like separate and then somehow all together. We have everything in one place.
That's a really, really good question. So, in my experience, it's easier for number one, taxes, but also for your brain to understand what's going on in business. If you
Okay.
keep the numbers separate, that does
Okay.
not mean they have to be in two different places. If
Okay.
that app allows you to track two different, like what I imagine is Marley and I were talking about Wave the other day, and Wave is an app similar to that, where
Yeah.
you have a personal tab and a business tab.
Okay.
So if you have a way to keep your business income separate from personal income that might be coming in and keep the expenses separate, I would definitely recommend that to start.
Okay.
That way
Okay.
you know what your business is producing, but you also know what you need from your personal household, what you need to produce to have for your personal household, your portion of it, if you're
Right.
helping to provide for that.
Is there a platform or some kind of a process that you recommend, like a document or a spreadsheet with just my business tracking?
Yes. And you know what? Let me find that. I have one that you can start using today just for your business. I'll
Cool.
drop it in the chat and you can make a copy.
Awesome.
Yes, one second. I know where that is. I still can't find that money date PDF that I had. Okay, here you go, Brooke. It's going to be in the chat.
you.
Anyone who needs this, feel free to grab a copy of that. So this is a business budget. It's a profit. I call it a profit calculator because it calculates how much profit you have at the end of the month. Inside of Mind Her Business, what you get is a very comprehensive spreadsheet that has all the formulas in it and everything for you. So everything that you receive for your business, you can track individually, but it all combines together so that you can see what you're making in your business. And then your profit for your business automatically populates to your personal, so you can keep everything together. I was asked this week, I was going to save this for the end, but I think it's important now. I was asked this week 2 or 3 times. I think it was 3 different women asked about spreadsheets. And the reason why I teach on spreadsheets and teach to start there is so that you can see everything from a bird's eye view. So it's really hard. Like if you think about putting a puzzle together and you have everything out on the table, but some of the puzzle pieces are flipped over, so all you see is the cardboard. You don't have everything laid out flat and flipped over so you can see what you're working with. That's what the spreadsheet gives you. It gives you a clear picture of what you're working with, so then you can manipulate the pieces to put them together in a way that makes sense for your family and your business. You don't have to use a spreadsheet forever. That's the good news if you don't love spreadsheets. But in order to get your habits and your patterns of spending, your like where you spend money now, what I hear a lot from people coming into Mind Her Business is I make good money, but I don't know where it is. I don't know, like at the end of the month, I don't know where it's gone. So that spreadsheet is your information that you need, the data that you need to be able to make decisions about where you want your money to go. So I hope that helps. Yeah. Married to an engineer who loves spreadsheets. Yeah. So he can take that and work on that with you. Love it. Thank you. That was a really good question, Brooke. You have less than a minute left for the money date. If you have not finished, that's okay. What I would like for you to do is to go on your calendar and schedule when you are going to finish or when you are going to do your money date. We all know if it's not on your calendar, it will not happen. All right. So that's your money date. We do this at the beginning of every call so that you have dedicated time to look at your money. We recognize that you are running businesses, you are running children, you have to take animals to the vet, you have school pickup, school drop off, you have all of these things, right? You're running households, you're running maybe clients, you have a lot of clients to check in with. And this is maybe the only time twice a month that you get to look at your money right now. So that's why we give you dedicated 10 minutes to be able to do that. Inside, for those of you who are here observing today and you're brand new to Mind Her Business is a course to help you get total control of your money, become literate in finances, and really confident in your own financial planning. So that means for your business, you don't have to ask anybody what they think you should do with your money. You're very confident making those decisions for yourself, budgeting for things that you want to do in the future, and just the decision making. The confidence and decision making can be life-changing. So this container is that place for you to work through the Mind Her Business course in the background while also working on your business to grow it. And we can help support that as you do it. So we also have Marley is our resident business coach. And where's Casey's face? Casey, I don't see your face. Oh, there are two of you.
Here I am. Here I am. Oh my
Casey is one of our bonus coaches, and she is an expert in Clifton Strengths Finders. So you get her also to support you with your natural strengths so that you can build your business based on the strengths that you already have, and you don't have to constantly be working on your weaknesses to build your business. So we're all about working with what you have first. So our money date is finished. If you have any questions at any point, you can always unmute, okay? I am going to, does anyone have any wins this week before we move into the profit planning portion? Casey unmuted.
Yeah, I'm gonna unmute. So for those who don't know, I was an internal coach at a company for 4 years. And I just started freelancing coaching last year with some, excellent entrepreneurs, network marketing, all of that fun stuff. And last month was the first month that my business paid for itself, that I was not using like my own money to pay for the operations of the business. So
how does that feel?
Good, because it wasn't like, so here's the interesting thing. And for those who are sitting in, like the number of clients that I thought I needed to hit that was not nearly as many as I actually needed. So it was a lot easier to show up consistently and creatively in order to serve those clients without feeling like I had to choose one thing or another, because I do have a full-time job that's very busy too. But yeah, it was just like fun to go back and look at the numbers and be like, oh, okay, like it happened. It just like happened and I wasn't paying attention because I was in control of my money. So I wasn't worried about it.
That's exciting. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
I know that was one thing that was your very first goal. So you've hit it. Now we get to move the goal.
I know, less than a year. It took me a full year, but here we are.
Amazing. Thank you, Casey. I hired a nanny this week, you guys. I say nanny because it sounds fun, but she doesn't live here or anything. If she offered that, I would 100% take her up on that. But I'm really excited because she helps me in the afternoons, which is my hardest time of day mentally. I wake up early just out of habit, and my kids wake up with me at the same time. So there's no downtime. And by 3 o'clock, I'm brain dead. And she was here at 2 o'clock, right before I went brain dead. And it was so nice to have some business working hours in the afternoon. And also, I read a book. So that's a huge win for me. I don't sit still to do things for myself. So thank you for sharing, Casey. We're going to go into the profit planning section of this. So this gives you the opportunity to look both at your money and your business to see if your money goals need to be adjusted or if your business strategy needs to be adjusted to reach the goals that you've set for yourself. So we have coaches in this room who can help you do both of those things. We're going to start with a really fun exercise that we found on TikTok, of all places, to get your creative juices flowing and kind of have you thinking bigger and more outside the box about what's possible for your business and where money can come from. So I'm going to hand it over to Marley, our business coach, and let her take over from here.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Okay, good. I got these new fancy noise canceling headphones my husband picked up for me, and they are so nice. The world is so calm inside. I have a cold, so bear with me. I have a chill and all the things going on today. I got my blankie and I'm ready to guide you guys through this exercise. So one of the things that I talk about all the time with my clients is that it's really important that you learn how to ask yourself really powerful questions multiple different ways. So asking yourself the same question 3 different ways can bring out different answers. And so I'll share with you what that can look like. And the win that I said I wanted to share literally just hit my inbox. It goes hand in hand with this exercise. So I'll save it and I'll share it in a minute here. So the exercise to give you a frame of mind for to give you a frame of mind for what this exercise is about, I'm going to share with you a situation in my life and in my family's financial future that just literally happened. This exercise Becca mentioned, it kind of popped up on my For You page this week. I'm really intentional about liking business stuff and money stuff so that it shows up more, and that when I'm doing my scroll time, I'm actually learning things. And I'm in like sort of engulfing myself in money literacy and financial literacy all the time. So I want to share with you some of the ways that we asked ourselves, my husband and I, some different questions that about our money and about our investment decisions that led to some different results really, really quickly, and some really exciting things that are literally happening this week in our household. And literally just, like I said, my inbox just got an email that was really exciting. So we have a rental home that we own. I'll sort of set the stage for what this exercise looks like. And we had 2 choices to make with this rental home. So the first choice was we could sell it and we could pay off our debt. We had a little bit of debt. That was like kind of our knee-jerk reaction, right? Because we all want to get out of debt. And we'll probably have a little bit of extra cash that we could probably buy a boat for our family. We've got 4 kids, so we spend a lot of time on the lake. We live in a tourist town. Like, this was a dream. My husband really wants to buy a new boat for a very long time. So that was sort of like, ooh, really juicy, really exciting opportunity for us. The other option was that we could use this as an investment opportunity and, continue to use it as a rental property. But not only that, we saw it as a way that we could slowly build wealth and also pay off debt in the process, and also work towards acquiring that boat. It just might take a little bit longer. And I say boat, but it's like boat, quad, snow machines. Like, he's got a long list of toys he wants. So when we looked at it in this way, it was clear what we wanted to do. We want to build our financial future. And I always say new is hard, right? Anything new feels hard. So becoming landlords and owning a rental home and thinking about investing in more real estate felt really scary and foreign because it's not something we were familiar with. But I've been in business for over 10 years. So I've ran my own businesses from home for myself. And I've built multiple successful businesses, 6-figure businesses, and I have learned total trust in myself. I have learned how to become a professional problem solver. I've learned how to be successful at anything that I choose to set my mind to. And that's where my business confidence comes from: experience, action, knowing how to lead myself, knowing how to ask myself powerful questions. And I will say, and I can say this, my husband works from home too, so he's going to hear me, that he doesn't think as much like an entrepreneur because he's an employee. He's a manager. He runs a business. It's just not his business. So he has a lot of incredible skills, obviously. He doesn't think like an entrepreneur. And so he and I were chatting this week about where we are and what doors have opened up for us because of my drive to try new things, do new things, push us, experience new things, invest in new ways. And I'm like a find a way, make a way kind of gal. So, you know, he was like, yeah, you're right. Like, we probably wouldn't have done all of that if it wasn't for you sort of leading the charge. And I couldn't have done it without him. So like, no shade there. But it's just, entrepreneurs, you have to learn how to think differently, ask yourself different questions, and really take action on the things that you want and go out and find a way to make them come to fruition. So if you've heard of Alex Hormozy, he is an incredible business guy. You guys know, I see some heads nodding. He popped up on my For You page, and then this exercise popped up. Okay, so Becca, I sent it to her. I was like, we got to do this. And then we thought, we got to bring this to Mind Our Business because it was so powerful. He said, basically, your brain will try to solve the problem that you ask it. So if you ask yourself, how can I make 100K? How can I make 100K this year? You're going to solve that problem. Right? 6 figures. That's exciting. That's a goal that we all have. But if you ask yourself, how can I make $1 million? Now you're going to start thinking differently. Now you've got to solve a different problem. And now you're going to expand yourself to think differently and bigger. And, you know, it doesn't have to be 100K and $1 million, but you can see that your brain will try to solve the problem that you ask it. So what questions are you asking yourself right now? Are you trying to solve today problems? Are you trying to work towards short-term goals, or are you really thinking big? And so we had 2 choices. We had a choice to pay off debt. And if we had chosen to do that, the result would have been that we were still making the same income. We would have still had the same spending habits. We would have still been making the same investments. We would have had a boat, but we would have had more expenses because of it. And, you know, it would have been sort of this, you know, maintenance and consumerism and staying middle class, which is just not our goal. We have a really great life. Like, we don't have anything to complain about. It's just not our goal. Rather, we took out a mortgage on that home and we turned it into a duplex. So for the last 6 months, that has consumed us. And we are literally having tenants move in today. Today is the day. And, you know, our rent doubled and then some. We've not only increased equity in the home, but the actual cash flow of the property. So it's now another income stream, and someone else is paying off that investment. So it's just opened so many doors. And the win I wanted to share was that my financial guy, I decided to email him last night and say, hey, you know, my husband and I sort of said, should we wait a few weeks and wait maybe a couple months and really like see where this lands us and, you know, pay off some of the investment we just made in this property? And I went, you know what, I'm just going to ask the question. So I emailed him last night and I said, hey, we want to buy another rental, like ASAP. We're excited. I'm an eager beaver over here. What would that look like? How can we leverage the equity we just built in this property? And he emailed me back and was like, yeah, you totally can. You don't probably have to wait too much. There's not going to be penalty. Like, he answered all the questions that were lingering, telling myself, oh, there's going to be penalties to remortgage so quickly. And he was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's have a call and talk about it. So because I was willing to ask the questions and just find the information, now we're already moving forward. So if I had not chosen to look at that as from a business perspective and ask myself those questions and ask the professional the question that I couldn't ask myself, look at the bigger picture of our goals, our finances, and confidently know my numbers. I know my numbers, and that's why we were able to do all of these things. That's how we were able to change our net income or our net worth substantially over the last 12 months. And now again, over the next 12 months, our legacy for our family and our kids is going to be totally different than what it looked like a few months ago. So this is the exercise that came up, and I want you to we're going to take a couple minutes, I think today, like 5 minutes to start it, but I want you to finish it. And again, schedule it into your calendar to do this exercise. The exercise, and I can't remember who it was, so I can't take credit, and it wasn't Alex Hermosi, it was someone else. But he said, I want you to write a list of 20 things. Ask yourself the question, how can I make, so his example was, how can I make $100,000 in the next 12 months without trading time for money, right? So how can I make 100 grand in the next 12 months? Now your goal might be 500,000. It might be 10,000. So I want you to set the goal that feels like a stretch, that is a powerful goal to ask yourself, that's going to get you feeling a little uncomfortable. And I did this just literally in bed. I got to number 10 within about 10 minutes, and I sent it to Becca, and I was like, we got to do this. So within those 10 minutes, I was able to completely change the plan that we had for investing in real estate. And then, and now I've just set a massive goal that we thought was going to take us 5 years. Now I've got a plan to do it in the next 12 months. So how can you make, let's go with this example, 100K in the next 12 months without trading time for money? So this could be like, hey, I've been sleeping in and not getting up. I could get up an hour earlier and start working a little bit earlier. This could be, I could sell, like, what assets do you have? I listed out everything we have, and my husband would kill me if he knew. I was like, snow machine, camper, like our little boat, like, can we sell it all? What do you have that you could make that in the next 12 months? And use it to leverage your financial future. So let's maybe take 5 minutes, Becca, and then you're going to take them through the profit planning exercise. Now, I want this next 5 minutes to get your juices flowing about what's possible for you in your business. This could be in your business. This could be outside of your business. So I have a coaching business. So real estate is something that's new to us and sort of on the side. So whatever it is for you, how can you work towards that goal in the next 12 months?
We're going to cut it down to 2 minutes so we have time for the profit planning.
Deal.
Okay, you have 2 minutes. If you have questions, unmute. What is happening?
Wanna be there when the voices in your head are enough to make you lose your mind. Just the same when you're dominating on a day. I wanna be the one who's by your side. You know my love is not the jealous type. It doesn't matter if we win or lose. Oh, I can stay around no matter where you're coming from. I can be the one to let you choose.
All right, you have 1 minute, less than a minute, actually. Is this hard? It's hard after 5 for me.
He said the first 3 will be easy, and then 5, and then he said the 20th one is what changes people's lives. So it does take a stretch. It does take some serious thinking, but get creative. That's the point.
Okay, if you can put a pin in that, we are going to do your profit planning now. So this is how I do my profit planning. This is how I walk one-on-one clients through it. And we're just going to do it today. This is going to give you, this might be hard if you have not done this before. If you are very comfortable looking at your financial goals and knowing what you need to do, how many people you need to hire, sign to get there, then this might be super easy for you. If you have never had to do this or you have not done this before, do not be afraid to play with these numbers. So that's all we're doing today, is playing with numbers. This is a way to get really comfortable really fast looking at your numbers. Plus, now you know a different way to think like a CEO and to gain control of your finances. So it's not business is happening to you. You get to decide what's happening inside your business. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat for you. This is the resource that I'm going to be going over today. This is for you to make a copy and keep. You can play with this however often you want to. Let me open it up so I can share my screen with you. Okay, I think I'm sharing my desktop. It's not what I wanted. Honestly, Zoom. Okay. There we go. So this is an annual profit planning calculator, revenue planning calculator. So if this looks overwhelming to you, just let me help you walk through this. We are only concentrating right here on Q2. That's the only one that we're concentrating on right now, okay? So I'm gonna walk you through this step by step. You can do it with me. You can just listen and do this later. But the first thing that I want you to do is to change these offers here. If you don't want to do it on the spreadsheet, write it down in a notebook. Change those to your top 5 offers. So if you're in service providing, then those are going to be offers that people can purchase from you, right? Or that you like coaching packages or something. If you are in service provider, then I want you to choose your top 3 to 5 products. So we're not going to do the whole catalog, right? I want you to choose it can be one of 2 things, your top 3 to 5 products that you love to sell, that you could talk about until you're blue in the face, or the top 3 to 5 products that your clients consistently purchase. So you can do it one of 2 ways. But you're first going to write down whatever your offers or products are, the top 5, and then I want you to put how much those cost, full price. So if I were to come to you today and order that from you or purchase that from you, how much would that cost me? Okay. Let me give you just a second. I should have used my actual desktop today. I'm having to move everything around. Okay, so if you haven't finished that, that's okay. You can have time after this, schedule time to do this. Have you chosen, you don't have to answer this out loud, have you chosen a revenue goal for Q2? If the answer is no, I want you to choose one. We still have a month and a half left in Q2, and the revenue is what is coming into your business. So the money that you receive from clients and customers purchasing in your business. Have you chosen a goal? If you know that goal, keep that in the back of your mind. If you are choosing a goal, write it down somewhere. So how much revenue do you want to have coming in for April, May, and June of 2023? Now, here's where knowing your numbers is more fun. If you already know how much revenue you've received for the quarter, then you know how much left you are working to earn, right? If you don't know how much money you've received, I want you to take a guess. Does it matter if you offer payment plans? Casey, for this particular, do your pay in full, Casey. We won't work with payment plans today, okay? Okay, that's a good question. Yes, so for instance, if someone pays you like $500 a month, you're going to work with how much they would pay you over a specific amount of time that they hire you for. So if it's for 6 months, that's $500 times 6 months, that's $3,000 that you would put there for your offer full price. Okay. Broken out to MHP spreadsheets. Casey, the fact that you say this is fun now really excites me, because 3 months ago, that was not what you were saying. The reason that we are choosing revenue goals is because as a business owner, if you have not set the goal, you don't know how close you are, right? Just like if you choose, like, let's say you want, like I said in a call this week, if you want to go to San Diego and you jump in your car and you drive, the chances of you getting there are highly unlikely. You don't know how to get there. You probably don't have enough gas, all of those things, right? So we're choosing the destination today, but then we're going to work on how we're going to get to that destination. So now you know like how close you are to the revenue goal, when you've reached the goal. So like when you can celebrate yourself. But if you don't know your numbers, you'll always feel like you need to hustle for the next goal, for the next number, for the next client, that you might feel like you always need more. So I'm going to give you an example while you think about a revenue goal. Last year I had a client in July. She was stressing about money. And I asked her, how much money do you think that you've brought in this year so far, July? And she said, $40,000, and that's not enough. So we went to go look at her tracker, and she had actually already brought in, contracted, $110,000. So she was hustling because she thought she'd only brought in 40,000, and that was not enough for her family for what she wanted to provide. When in fact, it was more than double that. It was almost triple that amount. And then she could feel herself de-stress. She could feel like she had more mental clarity and more mental space to go after a different goal, or to slow down a little bit if she felt like she wanted to, because she knew exactly what she had already contracted. So your brain will do a number on you. Your brain will tell you it's not enough. Your brain will tell you, I haven't met my goal, if you are not keeping track of those numbers, right? So if you're already in Mind Her Business and you have those numbers tracked, I want you to look at your numbers and see how close you are to that revenue goal that you chose. If you're new or you are observing today, I want you to ballpark that number, just to get in the habit of tracking and planning and goal setting, all of those things. If you don't know your numbers, or if you're fresh to Mind Her Business, that's what you're going to learn in here. So you have the spreadsheet, you have your Q2 revenue goal, you have your offers and pricing, and you should also know about how much you've sold for Q2 so far, which tells you how much more you still need to sell to reach that Q2 goal. So here's some questions that I want you to ask yourself. First, how much revenue does that make you need to generate? Okay. And an easy way, that was not an grammatically correct, that was not an easy way to phrase that sentence. How much revenue do you need to produce to close that gap, where you are right now and where you want to be? How many clients would that take? Here's where you get to play with the numbers in this spreadsheet and do whatever you want to this spreadsheet, okay? You get to take things out, plug things back in, change the pricing. Maybe this is the day that you decide you're gonna up your pricing. So what just happened? Okay, so you have your prices here. I'm just gonna put in like random numbers here, okay? So let's just step down from here. 3, and we'll make that 1,000. So I know that if I plug 1 in here, so you can already plug in what you've done for April, what you've already done for May. I'm just going to put 1 for each of these, and you can see the spreadsheet does the work for you. You don't have to do any addition. It's auto-populating for you. So if I've already sold 1 of these in April, I've generated $13,000 in revenue in my business. Let's say I've already done that for May. So now I have $26,000 generated in revenue for May, and May is not over yet, and June has not started yet, right? The best part about playing with these numbers is now you can see from what you've already done what sells the most or what sells the best over here. So if all of your revenue is coming from your first item on here, then that tells you that either you market that more, you promote that offer more, or people like that offer the most. Like they want to buy that offer the most. Maybe that's what you go all in on. If it's kind of evenly spread across the board, that can tell you a bunch of different things. I do not have a lot of offers anymore. I used to have like a handful. And I have technically 2 now. 2 is it. And it's so much easier to keep track of what's happening and what's selling and what's not selling and what I am working on selling. So now you get to see if your revenue goal, I'm just going to put it over here, was $30,000 for the quarter, then you've already produced 26,000. You only have 4,000 to go to reach that revenue goal. What can you do? Do you want to hit that in May? Now, here's where you get to decide what's best for you and your family. So like right now, I'm about to go into the summer with my kids at home. I don't want to be constantly on my phone. I don't want to be constantly selling. I don't want to constantly be answering messages, right? So I'm probably going to have a small season of just serving my clients that are already in with me. And I might sell in the background a bit, but I'm not going to go hard selling publicly, probably, right? Because I know what's coming up ahead for my family. This is where your schedule and how hard you want to work and how many hours you want to work comes into play. This is where you get to decide what that looks like for you. So you are not always hustling. I know why you started this business. It was for time, and more money. You might have more money, but I can almost guarantee you do not have more time, because that's how entrepreneurship typically goes. But you get to decide if that's true for you. So now that you know how close you are, maybe you want to finish off that 30,000 in May and take a break in June. Maybe you want to take a break for the rest of May and kind of trot in June, right? You get to decide how fast you're going to go after those goals. Maybe you don't have kids and you don't have a busy family schedule and you're like, I could double that goal. Like I could totally do that again in June and go way past that 30,000. That is totally up to you. Go for it. If you have the mental capacity and the time. Does anyone have any questions about filling this in, playing with these numbers, any of those things? You are free to unmute. If you don't want to, that's okay. Okay, let me look at my notes and make sure I did not forget anything super important. I guess the last question that I would just have you ask yourself is, how many clients do you need to sell at whatever one of those products or services you put down? How many do you need to sell? It may not be as many as you think, just like Casey said. That's where your numbers, the information that you get from your numbers, is invaluable, because the numbers get to tell you the story. You don't have to listen to the story that was in your head, right? Our brain catastrophizes everything if we let it. And so if you let the numbers speak to you, that sounds really woo-woo, but you know what I mean? Like, if you take the information from the numbers and let that help you make decisions, then you get to release the emotional response that you experience. The emotional response does not drive your decision making. The numbers drive your decision making and your schedule and what you have the capacity for. So that's it. That's literally profit planning. What you have left for quarter 2, you can go ahead and take that spreadsheet and finish the rest of the year out. You could start next year already and be like, hit the ground running. It is up to you how far in advance you want to plan. I typically do quarter to quarter only because things can change in this family very quickly. And I don't want to be married to something. I'm an all or nothing person. You have to know that about me. And if I put down a goal, I feel like I have to reach it, even if circumstances may have changed in the house or with the family, with the schedule. So I only do quarter to quarter so that I'm not stressing myself about what should happen. Do you have any questions about any of this? Not just the spreadsheet, profit planning, the exercise we did. I'd be happy to answer any questions. The floor is open to you.
What I love about the combination of that activity and Marley's exercise is like, so in corporate life, right, the only way that you get more money is to get a promotion or work harder or work more hours. And so even just reframing the planning in the, how it was the question phrased, like without trading time for money, it's very helpful to see it laid out in the spreadsheet and also think about it that way.
Yeah, you don't have to trade time for money if you don't have the availability for it.
Yeah, and that, I just want to add to that, Casey, that's what, if you don't know how could I not trade time for money in my business, or how could I make some of these things come to fruition, and you can't see that for yourself, like that's what we do in here. Like that's what you can bring to these calls, because we can help you look at what you can't see for yourself. That's why every coach needs a coach. That's why we like to get external opinions. Becca and I are constantly going to one another and saying, hey, I have this idea. Can you poke holes in it? Can you tell me what your thoughts are? Because outside eyes can see things differently than you can when you're right in it. And so that's what we want for you. We want to be able to show you what's possible, that maybe isn't apparent to you in your situation.
That's all we have for you today. If you want to take this a little further, what I would recommend is for you to now that you know your revenue, look at how much profit you have from that revenue generated. So if you make $10,000 a month and you only have $500 a month to work with at the end of the month, that doesn't feel good. That feels like you've worked a lot for not a lot of money, right? So your profit margin, yes, your revenue matters. You have to have revenue in your business to keep a business growing, to keep a business, and a business cannot be sustained. Your family cannot be sustained if you also do not have profit. So I won't do it here, but I found some statistics about different business types and the recommended profit margin for those. So I'm going to do a little fact checking, but I'll bring those to you. And like, let's say the bridal hair and makeup, the general profit margin for them is 40 to 50% of what they sell. That's huge. That's a huge profit margin. And they're service provider, so they are serving people. But I found a website that gave like a handful of businesses, online businesses and stuff. So I'll look into those and see if they're true, but that might give you a frame of reference for, is your profit margin working for you and your family? I guess it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's what your family needs, what you need and want from your business. So you can always be reevaluating that. Okay. If you have any questions, I live on Instagram. So I'll be in my DMs maybe later today, but definitely tomorrow. And thank you for being here today. I appreciate you being here. You're welcome. All right, ladies. Talk to you later.